Hello friends, welcome to Pen and Paper. On this channel, we explain important legal concepts in the simplest way using just pen and paper. In today's video, we will learn about the check bounce notice, its format, timeline, and an example notice and why sending it through a lawyer is important. So let's begin. Friends, we will first see what is a check bounce notice. So a check bounce notice is a legal notice which is sent by the payee to the drawer. So payee has not received the money for the check he has deposited in the bank, and he is going to send the legal notice to the drawer after check is been dishonored and not been cleared in the bank, and payee is going to demand the payment of the check amount to the drawee. So this is very simple understanding of the check bounce notice. Now we will see what are the legal timeline so that we can enforce or we can demand the payment to the drawee for the check which has been dishonored. Friends, now we will be seeing the legal timeline. So the first point here is the check presentation. So make sure that the check is going to be presented within 3 months of the timeline, the date for which the drawee has mentioned over there. So kindly do not fill any check. Make sure that it has been completely filled by the drawee and it has been given to you. So that in court, when the trial begins, we need to make sure that the check has been already filled by the drawee and we have just deposited the check in the bank. The second one is the check bounce. Make sure that the check is going to have a return memo and we need to keep that return memo, and which is very much important during the court trials. And then we need to make sure that notice is been sent within 30 days, usually sent by a lawyer. So we are going to send once we are going to receive the return memo. So from that day, make sure that this is been sent within 30 days. So the fourth legal timeline is the drawer's response. So make sure that the response here in the once you are going to send the legal notice from your lawyer, the response is only that you need to get your payment within 15 days. Maybe he's going to write n number of things in the response notice, that is not going to matter. The only thing is that the payment, the amount, the check amount need to be deposited or given to you within the 15 days of time. If this has been done, there is no further actions required, which has already been discussed in our previous video. And then if in case the payment has been not done within 15 days, you need to make sure that a complaint in court you need to file. So again, there is a timeline of 1 month after giving 15 days timeline for the payment on the driver's response. Maybe they can send another response to your legal notice stating the reasons why they are not going to make the payment. After that, you need to make sure to file a complaint within 1 month. So friends, now we are going to see what are the essential points in the legal notice which you are going to send it to the drawer. So the first essential point in your legal notice is make sure to write the name and the address of the drawer clearly. So this is very important step which you are going to produce in the court. So if the notice is not sent to the correct address, then we are going to miss a crucial step over there and the case is not going to stand in the court. So make sure the name of the drawer who is going to give you the check and the address of the drawer you are going to correctly mention in the legal notice. So the second essential point is check details in our legal notice. Make sure to write the check number which is the below the check and what is the date which is written on the check and what are the bank details, and make sure to write the amount which is been mentioned in the check amount. So basically make sure there should not be any other amount which you are going to mention. So you will be asking the drawer to make the payment of the check amount within 15 days. Do not add any further amount because again this is very crucial step in your trial. So when you are going to prove in the court, So they can come back and ask they have demanded more amount other than the check amount. So the next important element in your legal notice is when is the date of dishonor of the check and what is the reason. So reason might be anything: insufficient funds, account closed, payment stop, instruction given by the drawee to the bank. So make sure to write that reason in your legal notice and then send it to the drawer to make sure that they have given a check and these are the details of the check, and then this is the reason what we have received and the reason in the return memo. So do not attach the return memo to the legal notice. You need to just mention the reasons and what is the reason you are going to see in the return memo. So the next very important element in your demand notice is you are going to demand for payment within 15 days. So there you are going to ask them to make the payment within 15 days, so that you should clearly mention that this is a demand notice which we are going to send from our lawyer to make payment in 15 days. So the next important element in legal notice is you are going to warn the drawer if in case they are not going to make the payment in 15 days, you are going to take a legal action under section 138 of the Negotiable Instrument Act. So write clearly, we will also be seeing in a format in the next part of this video. So this is very much essential point to include in our demand notice. So friends, always make sure to send the legal notice by advocate, because there are chances that we are going to miss few of the points, and always make sure to send it through an experienced advocate who is having experience in check bounce cases. So likewise, they are going to sign your notice on behalf of yourself. So make sure to send it via advocate, and they are going to sign and send the legal notice to the drawer. So friends, now we will see a sample short notice which is going to send by your lawyer. So friends, now we are seeing the sample short notice which is going to send by your lawyer. So many a times the lawyer is also going to show you the legal notice what they have drafted, and you can also cross check these points whether these points are included in the legal notice, because this is the one which is going to be in court for the further process. So we are going to mention legal notice under section 138 of NI Act. So the date for the legal notice, when the notice is going to be sent in the format date, month, year, and it will be sent to the drawer's name and the address. Make sure the address you are going to mention here is the correct address and the name of the drawer is correct. There should not be any nicknames. So always verify the address of the drawer and then you need to send it, because you need to also need to retain uh, the registered post acknowledgement which you are going to send. So that is also you are going to attach in your code. So make sure to check all these fields. So friends, we will see the content of the legal notice. So here, dear sir, madam, under instructions from my client, that is a payee name, that your name, I hereby state that your check number. So we are going to write the check number. Make sure to cross verify the check number and also clearly mention the date of on the check which is drawn on the bank. Make sure to write the bank from which the drawer has issued the check, and make sure to write the amount only which is written on the check. Kindly do not include any additions to this amount. So we are asking just to make the payment of the amount which is mentioned on the check. Again, this was returned unpaid with the return memo. Kindly do not attach the original return memo to the legal notice which you are going to send, because that you need to attach in your court. So the return memo date you are going to mention when you have received the date, and you need to also state the reason. What is the reason? Whether it is a insufficient fund, whether the account has been closed, and also if the stop payment has been given by the drawer. So that you need to mention in your notice, and you need to also request the demand, that is you are hereby called upon to make the payment of the check amount, only the check amount, within 15 days of receiving this notice. So if you fail, my client shall initiate proceedings under section 138 of NI Act at your risk and cost. So anything which is happening in the court, that is the interest for the 50,000, the legal expenses, and any additional expenses which you are going to incur, so that all the drawer or the accused is going to pay to you. So you are going to clearly make it out, and after this your advocate is going to sign. So always make sure whenever your lawyer is sending a legal notice to have these elements in the legal notice, because these are the few minor errors or the checks which we need to make sure before we are sending. Otherwise, the accused lawyer can come and ask that the name of the drawer is not correct, the address is not correct, and also the check number is not correct, the date is not correct, the bank they have not mentioned is correct, the amount is not correct as they have mentioned in the legal notice, because the amount was only 50,000, they have mentioned here 60,000. And what is the return memo date, that also you mention. You need to clearly specify the reason here. What is the return memo from the bank which you have received, the reason. And you need to also demand in your notice to for the payment of the check amount within 15 days of the timeline as provided in the section 138 of the NI Act. And in case they are not going to make, you will be initiating the proceedings again at the accused risk and cost. Friends, we will quickly recap what we have discussed so far. So make sure to send the legal demand notice. So this is the mandatory step once the check is returned unpaid. So this is the most important step. So the second point is you need to send the legal notice within 30 days once you have received the return memo from the bank. So the next point we are going to recap is the drawer need to make the payment within 15 days of receiving your legal notice. So this is also very important step. So friends, the last point we are going to recap is always send the legal notice to an experienced lawyer in check bounce, and you need to also make sure to check the points what we have discussed before, that all the essential ingredients in the legal notice which you are going to send. So your lawyer will be giving to you to sign that legal notice. So make sure to read those points and then you can ask your advocate to send it. Friends, this was Cheque Bounce Notice, format, timeline, and example. And remember, always send it through a qualified and experienced lawyer to avoid legal defects. And for more easy law lessons, keep watching Pen and Paper. Thank you.